Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Empowered to Grow. This is our Unchartered discussion with Isabelle Bart. So, of course, I had to dig a bit deeper with Isabelle about her view and her perspective of what holistic means. She is the founder of Holistic Strategy. And I was asking her, let's dig a bit deeper into what holistic means on a personal, on a business, and possibly even on a relationship level.
Yeah, so thank you for asking that question. When I say holistic, I really look at all the facets of a person and all that they have to interact with in life, So some of the listeners and yourself, you may be familiar with the wheel, right? So there is, that's not a new concept, right? With like the different areas of life. I look at kind of these areas within 4 pillars. So I kind of split it with, the body, which is mostly the physical health, the emotion that may be related to your mental health, your heart, maybe the romantic situations you're in, if you have a partner or you're in love with someone.
Yes.
Then the connection. So that's kind of your social life, maybe your purpose, how you connect with people at work, outside of work. And finally, the 4th one is money and career and jobs, which is, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So the idea for me when I do coaching is making sure we optimize all these 4 areas with my clients. And because, as sometimes moms or dads and, professionals, we feel like we're running on the hamster wheel. Like we don't have time, of course we need to do our job well because that's what brings the money to survive. Yes. And so, but what I've noticed is as a leader, a lot of time I was doing my job so much better and my performance was increased when I was actually working less during the day, or when I was taking the time to go on my bike ride, or for me, motion is key. And so I like to do a lot of physical things. And I realized, oh my gosh, when I do these physical things, I come back rejuvenated. I'm feeling so good in my body that I can do an amazing job. Like my performance is so much higher. So I'm one of those people who really say, hey, do not work your team, 20 hours a day. I really don't believe anybody can be productive 20 hours a day.
That's true.
And instead, let them flourish in what they like to do or what makes them feel good, because then that's going to really have an impact everywhere. So I really believe that, again, you need to look at the balance between these areas. And, there's also research, for example, that shows that, happiness increases at some point if you feel you have a purpose in life. It's not about how much money you have.
Yes.
And that's why the purpose is also important, whether you find it at work, in your relationships and your family, or with volunteering, whatever that means for you. And I think you said the word earlier, individualized.
Yes.
Which is why I think the benefit of really working with coaches is that you can have a partner to really develop your own plan, because I don't think there's a lot of cookie cutter solutions.
Yes.
But what works for you, and, how you can start optimizing different areas, maybe finding creative ways to deal with it. What's the priority? What's not a priority? And kind of like, as I call it, become the CEO of your life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think we were not conditioned to take care of us growing up in that sense. We were conditioned to aspire for achievables. So, there was I call it the checklist. There was always a checklist. Yeah. It's where, your degree, degrees, certifications, where you're working, how you're progressing in your job, the financial gains that you're making, and then, the material things that come along with it, along with getting married, having the kids and the specific number of kids. And it's like, and you find yourself and I came from the same place, as in, you were saying earlier that, you kind of made some realizations a bit later. And I made my first realization when I was 40, that I was seeking I was on the hamster wheel, and I was seeking something that was not even personalized to me, as in, these are my expectations of my own life and what I want for me in terms of the career and the goals and the fulfillment and the gratification and all of that. And I think that's the part that a lot of people are waking up to. It's that realization that I can still do less to achieve more. But the point, I think, here is that this more is more of what feeds and nourishes and flourishes me, rather than just more of what the societal standards are and what society expects of me.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, like for me, an example, like when I was very young and I decided to move here to the United States, I had graduated from a very prestigious school in France. Mm-hmm. So I was proud. I was feeling like, hey, I'm going to get a job. I'm bringing like all these good things with me. That's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. I came here to California and I realized that the lifestyle made a lot of sense for me, made me very happy, because as being an outdoor person, we have great weather. Mm-hmm. And I said, what's more important? And at the time I made the choice to move here, maybe then kind of give up on all my studies and the degree I got, who was kind of unknown here. And again, I felt like, but you know what? I went to a great school and I got great skills. So it will help me in my life no matter what. And indeed it did. And right now I'm kind of feeling a little bit at the same juncture where, I kind of grew up, I had children and, I was like, oh, I need a big house. I need, the thing, the suburban America thing. And I realized I'm like, you know what? I would much rather live in a smaller place, but be in a location where I feel like I'm feeling good about what I'm doing. So I like to be able to walk, to like neighborhood shops or be closer to the beach, because I really love the beach and taking walks there. And, there's that weird connection that I feel with the water. Yeah. So this is, again, about making the choices, to your point, that work for yourself, no matter what other people think or you think the society tells you to do. I completely agree.
Yeah. And actually stemming from that, you were talking earlier about, offline, about personality profiling. So from your perspective, how does that work, and how does that enable you to help others to kind of seek what they want?
Yeah, so I've done, several versions like we all have of Myers-Briggs and, DISC. I mean, there are a lot that I did in the corporate world mostly. And about 2 years ago, I came across the Enneagram.
Yes.
I don't know so, and I'm not, again, I don't have any financial interest or anything in, I'm just going to say this one personally is the one that when I understood my profile made me cry as I was reading about my number, because basically Enneagram, you have a main number between 1 and 9, a wing, which means you can go like 10 to go to the next number higher or lower. And, they are subtypes. So it's not, it can be complex, but it can also be very simple if you're trying to introduce yourself to the model. But what was interesting for me is, so I'm called the helper in the Enneagram model, number 2. And I also have a little bit of that achiever piece, which is the 3. What really was painful for me when I first read about it is basically they were saying, so our numbers are built in reaction to something that happens usually when we're young, because we wanted to be loved. So for me, my mantra subconsciously has been, I need to give to others in order to be loved. If I don't, nobody will love me. So that also why, when I reflected upon that, I said, oh, so that is why I've always been very preoccupied in making decisions with other people that are dear to my heart because I don't want to hurt them. Again, I feel like they're not going to love me anymore, right?
Sure, I know.
I saw some patterns, or a funny story I'll tell you is I've been listening to a podcast on Enneagram because I was really getting into it. And they had a guest one day, and she was the same number. And I've been telling friends all my life, I'm the kind of person who couldn't live on a desert island by myself. I don't know, like I can do it, and I need to have people around, even if I don't always interact with them. And I don't know why. And this person comes on the podcast and she literally says
the same thing.
We can live on a desert island. And actually, what she was saying is, for us, it is good, though, to try to isolate ourselves and be a little bit in solitude to do some work on ourselves. And she said, but we will find every possible way to avoid it. So, so I may say, I'm going to go sit on the beach and be by myself to do some exercise. But of course, I see someone. So instead, I may try to have a chat with that person to avoid being by myself.
Yes.
Which was just funny in a way. And then, really, again, digging a little bit deeper into the Enneagram model, it's wonderful because it is saying that, there's no right or wrong. We, like you said, we're all unique and wonderful individuals. How can you be in your healthy range? That's really the point of it. You want to be in the healthy range because, again, for me, if I start being in a relationship, for example, where I give a lot, which is my pattern, but I don't get back, after a while, I will build resentment.
Yes, that's true.
Probably.
That's true.
And that when you get in the unhealthy range where you may say, now I'm pissed at that person. And you may start becoming a different number or different self because you're really reacting to a negative situation and you want to recalibrate, be like, no, it's wonderful to be a helper. I can help this world so much and I need to be healthy here. So I will say I've had a lot of friends and clients who I've directed to that model because I think it's a very holistic as well model that works in all areas of your life. And that is really, in my experience, potential for transformation here, at least understanding first your personality and then maybe creating some transformation or trying to be in the healthy range. I think the potential is huge.
I love that. I think it might have been the only tool I have not tried so far. So I think I'll have to go and kind of try my profile there and see. I think, as you were saying, it's kind of the awareness and it's knowing yourself to be able to capitalize. I say you capitalize on your core competences. It's not like you can't build new skills and you can't find out new things about yourself, but there are things that are inherently you and uniquely you. And once we start recognizing and accepting and embracing these, then you can actually nurture other features and characteristics about you, and that kind of help you go to the next few levels. And I think that's the part that comes with the awareness, the recognition, and the acceptance as well. I think that's a part that still people sometimes kind of fall through with. It's accepting that is part of me, and I need to embrace it as well.
Yes, exactly. I think. And you may have also heard about Strength Finder, which is a little bit the same principle of let's just recognize and celebrate your strengths.
Exactly.
And, and I've done that at work, for example. So for me being, I have strategic as one of my strengths. And sometimes what goes with that is I'm not always very detail oriented, or I don't like to catch myself in the details. Well, so that means I've always hired people on my team who were very good with details, whether they may have been analysts or project managers or people whose, passion lays in the details, which is amazing to me because it's so different from my own personality. Yeah. But I love that. I love the fact that we can all complement each other.
Of course.
And, build these great teams or great partnerships that can make a difference.
I love that, Isabelle. Thank you so much for, again, sharing a lot of your knowledge with us. And I do encourage everyone who's listening to go out and find more about you and to embrace you and to love you, because it really does make a whole difference in our life. Thank you, Isabelle.
Thank you so much.
Well, as I always say, empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananulbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.